Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday.
Oh
We have
my,
a visitor.
look at that little cutie patootie with your tiny paws that go on mommy's eyeballs every night.
This is Lola. Happy Thursday. Yeah, Lola decided that she wanted to be a part of this podcast.
I support this. Welcome, Lola.
If anyone hears snorting noises, it's not my stomach, it's not my GI, it's this little dog.
Or it might be me.
Yeah, so like just whatever sounds better to
It's
listeners.
either Lola or Lily. It's either
Yeah,
either
yeah,
way.
make your own, choose your own adventure today.
So how have you been? How was your week?
I feel like I don't know, 2024, I feel like every time the new year hits, I'm just like, it sounds really promising. And then it just feels like an explosion.
Oh my
of-
God.
yeah.
Dude, this is the thing where with 2024 starting, I was like, 2024, like that's a beautiful number. Everything's gonna go great. Like you can't go wrong with 2 and 4. There's just two positive numbers. Um, yeah, it's been a shit show. And not like it doesn't feel like a positive shit. It doesn't feel like I've gotten a single win so far in 2024.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been I actually want to ask to use our time today to just distract from life because I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to deal with it. I just don't.
Yeah. This is one of those moments where I'm like, sometimes avoidance is effective because if
Mhm.
you are too dysregulated to go there, then it actually wouldn't be effective too.
Yeah,
Let's distract.
I'm down. What are our options for distraction? You want to
So
do like a 45-minute meditation?
I do not want to do a 45-minute meditation. I would hard pass on that. I do have this little game that I sometimes play with clients.
Hmm.
The We're Not Really Strangers game. And and
Okay.
and
What
I
is
don't
this
actually,
game?
to be fair, I don't know how to play it, but it has a bunch of questions, so I usually just go with those.
Oh,
And I don't know if that's actually counts as a game. I don't, there are like pencils and stuff that it came with, but I just like the questions.
okay.
So I think let's dive in to just distracting with goofy little questions. I don't know how goofy they're gonna be.
Listen, let's just have fun with it. Might as well. It'll be interesting what questions there are. I have no clue anything about this game, but I like it. I also like this as like a mindfulness game to play.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we used to do it on our team with like just as mindfulness practice of asking each other these. So I think it could be a really nice way to distract.
I like this.
Three types of questions. One is about perception, the other is about connection, the last one's about reflection.
Ooh,
What's
okay.
your what tickles your fancy today?
Wait, before we start it, let's give a brief description of mindfulness just in case for people that don't
Oh
know.
yeah, yeah. Explain what we're doing. Yeah, got it.
So mindfulness it's something that's used often, right? It's something that we want to practice. It's about being very present in the moment. I think the way we, and correct me if I'm wrong, but for us, we do mindfulness from what I've learned, the DBT way, I call it, which is practicing observing. So just noticing what's coming up, describing without using judgments, being
Mhm.
very factual and participating effectively, which is just throwing yourself in the moment, whether you like it or not, just participating and throwing yourself in the moment and going with the flow. So, an example with this would probably be if there's like questions that I'm like, this is a little too personal to give on this podcast. I'm gonna participate effectively by just throwing myself and not judging it and
Yeah.
calling it too personal and just doing it.
Yeah. In a nutshell, mindfulness is just paying attention on purpose to the present moment. In this present moment, we're creating. And yeah, my goal is to make you uncomfortable. And I'm just kidding. My goal is to just take a moment out from all the other things. Um, so yeah,
So,
Perception, reflection, connection.
let's go with perception seems philosophical. Let's
Yeah.
just go with connection. Let's see what connection's all about.
Okay, I'm choosing at random. So I, ooh, okay. Wild card. This is, it just says admit something.
Ooh, okay.
We both have to answer, so I don't know what I'm admitting. I don't know what you're admitting, but here we are. Let's go.
Okay. I'm noticing so much confusion, like admitting something via connection about a connection.
I think I think we can even just go with admitting something, like something shameful, guilty. I don't know. That's where my mind goes because it's not really an admission if I'm like, I like French fries, and you're like, you would tell anybody that.
That's true. That's true, actually. Admitting something. Um, oh, okay. Well, it's fun for me to admit to this,
Yeah.
although I'm sure it's a bit embarrassing as well, or it says something about my childhood. I'm not sure. I'm not going to judge it. We're just going to let go of all of the fears and
No
anxieties.
judgment here.
So when I was up until the age of 4, almost 5, I still used the pacifier.
Mhm.
Um, and they had to have me graduate like 4 times. Like in school, they had 4 graduations for me to grow out of using like bottles and pacifiers. So like once a month they would like have this party and they would bring all my pacifiers and one by one everyone would throw it in the trash can and everyone would clap and then when the party was over I would go and grab it from the trash
Like,
can.
that's been really nice. Can I have this back now?
We had cake and everyone clapped for me, yay! But I'm still gonna use my fucking pacifier.
Here.
And I would cry bloody murder if someone took it out. Even if I was sleeping, I would cry bloody murder. And I don't remember any of this personally. These are stories that have been told to me, but I don't really tell people because it's embarrassing. Because as a therapist, I'm like, what the fuck was going on in my life that the pacifier was like my comfortable blanket thing.
It's soothing. Yeah.
But
Well,
until the age
you.
of almost 5?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's so soothing.
Yeah, so that's my thing that I'm admitting.
I love that.
What about you, Dr. Bokikio?
I can't ride a bike.
What? Are you
Can't do
serious?
it. I'm dead serious.
That's actually pretty exciting. I like that.
Yeah, I try. I try.
What?
I just can't do it.
Oh,
It
it's
was like
hard.
it's hard. It's also I must have like there at different points in time I've learned how to do it and I just it doesn't work. I don't know what it is and I think like I'll get down the street but I just mm-mm.
Yeah.
Like it was so awkward. I feel like when I moved to LA like the first time because people are so like outdoorsy and like athletic and they were like, "Do you want to go on a bike ride?" And I'd be like, "I'd do anything on this earth but not ride a bike with you."
I think your brain's just like, why do I want to even like test gravity like this? Like why?
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah, that's my confession. I tried practicing last summer. I was like, I tell people to do exposure all the time. Like
Mhm.
I'm gonna learn. I did it like a bunch of times, but it just never, it was like, it wasn't even the fear anymore. It just like didn't work. Um, which is kind of odd because I don't think I'm that like I couldn't even really figure out why, but yeah, it's an ongoing issue.
Yes, I support even if you put the like the baby
I
thing.
can do that. Yeah, I can do the I can ride a tricycle like the tricycle. I can do a tricycle. Yeah, but not
Not a bicycle.
a bicycle.
Do you really need a bicycle?
It's I don't think so, but if people seem to really like it. So,
I
have
guess.
really closed the door to trying to learn again.
Don't let it go. Give up. Let it go.
Let it go. It's not worth it.
Let it go. Let it go. Oh, another confession. I have a horrible singing voice. That's a judgment, but it's actually pretty factual.
Like a judgment. I think maybe we should just do our next podcast of just you singing, and we can have our listeners really let us know.
Okay, you want another? Going to another confession. I'll just keep confessing things
Yeah,
now that I'm in confession mode. There was once that I was singing in a parking lot and all of the car alarms went off. All of them.
that's amazing.
Yeah. It was literally like as I was walking, it was like a scene. Like I was like just singing because I was intoxicated, obviously. I was just like singing, being happy, and as I'm going, like car alarms are just going off.
Feels like such a momentous occasion. Like you're setting off car alarms, like walking through.
Yeah, yeah. The next morning, everyone was just like, please don't ever, ever do that again. I was like, I don't even recall that happening.
All right, let me. Ooh, this is actually very personal. I wish I didn't pick this one up. And then it was clear that I picked it up because yeah, okay. Have you ever told someone I love you but didn't mean it? If so, why?
Mm. Oh, wow. Have I ever told someone I love you and didn't mean it? I don't think so. No, not really. And I'll tell you why. I am someone that is a very emotional human being. And so because I have emotions and I feel them intensely, I actually do experience the emotion of love for people without having it to be such a scary emotion for me. So like if in a moment, like I've even like had a conversation with a stranger and I'll be like, I have so much love for you. Like I love you, man. I love you. And in that moment I feel it and then it fades away and then that person's love is like gone. So in the moment I've said it, I've probably felt it like I love them for something they're doing that's adorable or cute or fun or whatever.
Mhm.
I guess I guess let's answer the question. I have said I love you and I actually meant it, but I wasn't in love with them. And so there have been many situations in my life where men have thought that I was in love with them, but I actually really
Spicy.
wasn't.
Hmm.
I would just say, like, I love you. You're an important person to me. I care about you as a friend. But they thought like I meant I love you.
Yeah.
Then sometimes I had to be like, yeah, you're no.
Well, this is where I think that people start to like interpret things the way that they want to, of like, oh, like I love that. Like I think of the ways in which we use love as like a communicator of something else. But then I think the different interpretations and yeah, they vary very significantly.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's the thing. Like for me, I feel comfortable expressing my emotions. I'm not scared of them. So when I do feel the emotion of love, even if it's momentarily for someone or something, I do express it and I express it with like comfort. And that has bit me many times because then people are like, but you said you loved me. And I was like, yeah, I do as a human being, but I'm not like that in love with you.
Yeah, as a person,
Yeah.
just like in this moment.
Mm.
Yeah, I feel like the interesting thing about this question is I don't think I've ever like gone out of my way to, I think in a romantic setting to say I love you. I'm not good at like concealing my feelings. If like you kind of know if I like you or if I don't like you very, very clearly. Um, but I do think the interesting thing that this brought up for me, which was not romantic, which was how I think I was shaped as a child to just say I love you to all my relatives. And
Uh,
I had no, and it'd be somebody that I've never seen, right? Like it's somebody I don't talk to, I'm not, around. And then suddenly, like, that's like the language. And so I think I'm sure I've used it in that setting and not really mean it, but that's not like, I would say that's not like the most exciting answer. Like I wish there was like some, really romantic story.
So, but it does bring up an interesting, like, I love what you said when you were like, it's what the person wants to take from what you said, right? And so, like, I think that's the thing. Even there are like, I can understand there's so many families, and I have a lot of friends alongside of you where families are like, just be polite, say you love them, this is family, like trying to teach how to love family, right? So you just say you love people and it's taught to you. And for me, like, no one really taught me that. I was naturally in me. I just
Yeah.
told everybody I love them because I was a very emotionally loving person, still am. Um, and it's interesting how when you express an emotion, it doesn't matter whether it's love or not, how other people choose to translate it.
Yes. Yes.
Hmm.
And that's like something that I think when we're starting to, I think we should do an episode on dating, but when people are like kind of communicating back and forth and reading text messages, and it's amazing how, depending on your orientation towards that person, you can read things so, so differently.
Yeah, and a lot of times we should do a topic on dating. How you are, it's like in the beginning phases of dating, everyone's excited. There's this excitement. And like with that excitement comes up, like you read everything as in like, oh my God, it's so cute. And then like 6 months later, you're like, I can't believe they fucking texted me that and I thought it was cute. Like what the fuck?
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, what's next?
Next up. Okay. Okay. Let's see. What has been your earliest recollection of happiness?
Oh,
A
so
little like that.
I love this question. And it's also interesting. So I don't necessarily recall much prior to the age of 7. Again, I really wonder what happened in the early moments of my life.
Like you're like, there are some question marks now popping up.
Um, I blame it on like the God knows how many concussions I've had in basketball that I don't have a memory, but also like if we're using psychology, was there trauma that I just don't remember prior to the age of 7? I don't
Yeah,
know. Do I
just
want to touch on it? No. Do I ever want to find out? No, man. I'm good. I'm good in denial. Um, but my earliest memory of happiness is actually when I was 7 years old. We went to Iran, my whole family and I. So we moved to Iran, although for us, I think it was like we thought it was like a vacation, but we actually moved there for 7 years. And the first memory I have, which is also my happiest and also weirdest, like it's kind of a weird experience, but also it was very happy. We got into Iran and we're coming out of the airport, and the airport is like dingy and dark because it's Iran. And we come out, and there's this like tiny old lady with like a whole scarf and everything covered up to my left side. And then I like an older man to my right side because in Iran it's women and men separated. And my mom is like, and like the tiny old lady's like jumping up and down and like tapping her chest, and like the old man's just standing there stoically. And my mom's like, look, that's your grandma and that's your grandpa. It's my mom's parents. And
yeah.
that was, I don't know why, that just is one of the happiest memories I have, meeting them for the first time, on like one to my left and one to my right.
I
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. I was 7.
okay. I feel like I should have come up with something already, but here we are.
You were listening to me mindfully. I appreciate that.
I think the one memory that's coming to mind is I guess I was like pretty um rigid as a child. And I refused to wear anything other than dresses and like fancy, what I would call party shoes. And I just have this memory. I don't even remember how old I was or what the context was, but I was looking down and I had these patent leather shoes with pearls on them. And I was like ecstatic that I had these shoes because I refused to wear sneakers. I refused to do anything. I would do everything in like a fancy dress and shoes. And I was like very specific about what I wanted. And I just remember looking down at those shoes and like they had like a line of pearls and being like, these are amazing. So I wish it were something more I guess
That,
traditional.
listen,
But
I
it was
love
exciting.
that.
Yeah, I think I was like 3 or 4.
You
Yeah.
were a fashionista from a young age.
Yeah, I had a lot of preferences. That's that's certainly clear.
That's cute. I like that. Yeah, I wore basketball shoes and pants the my whole life almost.
Yeah, that's
Mm,
that's what it is.
I
I'm
couldn't.
flipping us into, ooh. Okay, this one is, are you missing anyone right now? And do you think that they're missing you too?
Oh, let's see. The first person that popped up when you said, "Are you missing anyone right now?" is my grandmother, my mom's mom, who passed. Um, do I think they're missing me too? I would like to think so. If this whole soul, I don't know what's happening in the afterworld,
Yeah.
so can't really say. Um, but that's the first person that pops in my mind as like a person that I'm truly missing. I really do miss my grandmother.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's a different type of missing.
It's a different type of missing. But if I'm thinking of a person that I haven't spoken to, um, assuming I hope they're still alive, who do I miss? Honestly, I really can't say that I do.
Yeah, that's definitely okay.
Yeah. I think reason I don't know, is this really a good positive thing? We're not going to judge it, mindfulness, but and at the same time,
Yeah.
I'm a person that if I really do love you as a human being and we like if you didn't harm me or hurt me in a way that was really intense and you didn't apologize for it, you're out of my life.
Yeah.
And if you're out of my life, you're out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
So not necessarily someone that I think about. Um, but if you're in my life, then if I feel like I miss you and I think about you, I just pick up the phone and call and say I miss you or send a text message saying I miss you. But so no, no one I can think of that I would miss that I don't know if they miss me back.
I think that, yeah, I think it's so much easier to stay connected, also to like isolate, right? It's like both easy, it's easy on both ends, but it sounds like for you, like you're more connected to the people that you're apart from. The person that came to mind immediately was my niece. She's on
Oh,
the East Coast, and I definitely want to say she misses me too. Auntie Lala. How could you not miss your Auntie Lala?
how can you not?
Though I did have a call with her over the weekend, and I was like, Lele, do you want to come see your Lala? And she was like, no. And I was like, oh, like, what do you mean you don't want to see me? And she was like, I don't want to go right now. And then she left the phone. She like left the phone. She just walked away. So I'm actually unclear. I think she misses me, you know? Um,
Sure, she misses you. Just in that moment, your request was very inconvenient for her life
not
because
interested. It's like pretty, yeah, she was not having it with me. So I do miss her. I miss her every day. Um,
oh,
because she's my buddy. But I think it probably depends on the day if she misses me too.
I don't think so. I think she misses you all the time. She just has a better way of coping with missing because she just distracts easily. Your answer was so much better than mine. Mine was so dark and harsh.
But I feel like it's been like ping pong of like me being like very self-judgmental and like the only happiness I had as a child when I was looking at my shoes. Like there are so many self-judgments. I feel like when I'm going to be re-listening to this episode, I'm going to be noticing my own self-judgment during this a lot. So I think we have time for one more question.
All right, let's do this. This has been fun. This has been a nice distraction.
It has been a nice distraction. I haven't thought about any of the crap.
Yeah, me too.
It's kind of like this is another wild card.
Hmm.
Ask a question you'd be too afraid to ask, something you wouldn't dare to ask.
Okay, I have to make this one actually a good one. Let's see.
I feel like I just got off the hook because I get to ask it back to you.
Ask a question that you would be too afraid to ask. What would I be too afraid to ask? I want to make this a good one.
I know there's a lot of pressure now.
I know. That's a good question. You know what's actually, it's not a question that I would be afraid to ask you, but it is a question. I think this, like, talking about this might, I don't know, this episode might go longer. I'm having so much anxiety around this question.
I'm actually really excited now.
Because you know how now in society, like we walk on eggshells on so many certain topics,
Yeah.
especially in the United States of America for sure. Like politics, we don't, we, everybody is walking on eggshells, or race, or sexuality, or all of these different things. With you, that's the thing. I wouldn't, I don't walk on eggshells, but again, I would because we're on a podcast and you don't know.
Right. Yeah. No, it's the context that I think changes it.
Yeah, so I'm going to be very honest and I'm going to say I'm going to pass on asking the question, but I would like us to have that conversation on the podcast one day about the way the topics that people walk on eggshells around in society, and what's the best way of navigating that instead of walking on eggshells, how to start feeling comfortable with talking about it without taking it personal, I guess.
Oh, cool. Just like the biggest question that you could ask.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what I
Yeah.
wanted to talk
Yeah.
about.
How do you?
Lauren, would you feel comfortable talking about that in our next episode on the podcast?
Well, just given that we're recording live, I feel like my answer, yeah, that sounds great. No, I definitely would. I actually would feel comfortable. I think it's something that I think about a lot, but I also definitely also think about my own positionality as like a white woman, like, contributing to certain conversations. It just feels like I just knowing my place in them is also really important. So that's what I often like kind of grapple with is knowing my place while also being able to like contribute and not to perpetuate like kind of narratives and not to be afraid to like hear other voices. So that's my
And I think that's the thing. It would be a great conversation because you, as a white person, and me as like a brown person, I'm not like the darkest of skin. So it would be nice to bring someone with a darker skin in too to have that conversation. Um, but it's too different. I think that's the thing. We all have so many different opinions because of the way we grew up and the way we like experience things. And I will say, even like as a white person, that even thinking that you have to like be mindful of how to say it, that in itself is part of the eggshell, like walking on eggshells that we've created.
I think it's less so that like that I feel like I'm walking on eggshells, but I think that being intentional about hearing other people's voices and knowing when like my voice, I think I know this kind of jumps into the conversation a little bit, but white voices are heard a lot. And so I think this is like kind of being intentional about taking a step back and when to know to step forward more so than it is like a fear of talking. Like people hear a lot, people hear white voices a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally understand that. And that's definitely a huge truth in the
Yeah.
world in society. And I will say the dialectic to that, which is also a truth, the other polar opposite of it is white voices are also judged a lot more now. There's a lot of judgment around it, and there's a lot of dismissing of white voices now too. So those two truths really do play head, like they coexist at the same time now. But I do agree. Yeah, that's very true. I think that would be the question that we would have to pass on to the next episode.
Yeah. So everybody stay tuned for for us to go where angels fear to tread and really to talk through some of these ideas. But this has been a lovely distract. So
It's
thank you, Lily.
definitely distract. Thank you so much. Thank you for everyone listening to Off the Clock Conversations with Lili and Lauren. We hope that this episode was as entertaining as other episodes. Although we did just talk about ourselves our whole entire time. So you can tell us a little bit more. First start of season 2.
Yeah. Welcome to season 2.
Welcome to season 2. Also, I would like to say a reminder that tomorrow, Friday, is March 8th, which is also International Women's Day. So, to all the women all over the world, happy International Women's Day. You are beautiful. You are amazing. Hope you get to love yourself in that day.
That sounds lovely. What Lily said.
Bye.